Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Ask an Engineer. It's 8 p.m. on Wednesday night, which means it's time for the 1-hour live maker show you know and love. All the latest news, gossip, new products. It's not out yet, Python news, and other things that we've got in our show that we do every week and we've done for about 10 years.
I don't really do gossip anymore.
Yeah, sorry, it's not true. I mean, gossip is in like the latest and greatest.
Yeah.
I don't know. Stuff that's happening.
Yeah, I'd like to. Boy, is there. It's like the TMZ of electronics.
I know.
Out there.
I wish, but
it's like it's like my favorite scene in Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Where Deckard is talking to Rachel. He's like, it's just business, and and she's like, I am the business.
No,
so
we are the business.
We can't gossip. We just got to do we got to ship the products and do the work.
Maybe instead of gossip, I should say it's not out yet. Secrets.
No more jibber jabber.
No jibber jabber.
For us, let's do some electronics and live shows.
We're doing some live show stuff. So broadcasting live from the Adafruit factory, where we do our electronic design, manufacturing, and shipping, and testing, and all that good stuff. And we got some goodies for you tonight. We got, like I said, a full hour jam-packed with the best maker goodies and news ever. What's on tonight's show, Mr. Lady Ada?
On tonight's show, the code is analog. 10% off in the Adafruit store all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. That's everything except for gift certificates and Ada Box. Use this to get 10% off. Save you some money. When you're doing that, you're supporting us, an open source hardware company, a woman-owned open source hardware company in New York City that does manufacturing. And we got hundreds of people, and we pay them. And so when you buy something, this is what supports us. We don't have loans or venture capital. We don't have ads and stuff like that. We just sell you stuff. So use that code analog and save some money on the way out. Show and tell people around the world showing and sharing their projects. We had a pretty big show and tell this week. Lady Ada will talk about that. Pack at the Mailbag will stop by and we'll read your letters to us. A ton of Python on hardware news. We will get through most of it and then some this week. Time travel, look around in the world of makers, hackers, artists, engineers, current events, and more. Help Lana, we got some stuff on the jobs board, jobs.adafruit.com. It's also a place where you can post your skills if you're looking for a cool gig. Main New York City factory footage, we got a bunch of that. 3D printing, new products. Top secret this week?
Yeah, I could probably find some top secret.
We might have a top secret this week. We'll answer your questions. We do that over in Discord, where you can join the 10,000 plus people who are there, adafruit.it/Discord. Give away something at the end of the show, all that and more on, you guessed it,
Boom, boom.
Ask an Engineer. Okie dokie. Well, don't forget the code's analog. In addition,
I do have some. Yeah, I do have some. It's I'm gonna grab some. Oh yeah, I get some good stuff.
Cool. In addition to the code being analog, when you check out of the store, we give you some free stuff.
Free! If you order $99 or more, you'll get a free you'll get a free Perm-Proto half-sized breadboard. That's the white thing on the very left over there. It's about the same size and shape as a solderless breadboard. So when you're done with your project, you can move your project from the solderless breadboard to this, soldered up, and now it's a permanent prototype. That's the Perma-Proto. It's got this nice silk screen and markings, so you can know which are the power and ground traces. We sold out of our 149 and up tier, so we don't have any more magazines. Congratulations to all the people who got in those freebies when we had them. Maybe we'll have some more freebies in a week or two. 199 or more, we have free UPS ground shipping. That's high quality, trackable shipping in the continental United States. It's a recommended way of shipping goodies because you know where it is and when it's going to get there. And then at $299, you'll get a free Circuit Playground Express. It's a premier learning platform for learning how to code and build hardware. You can use it with a huge number of different programming systems, from Arduino to MakeCode, which also can do TypeScript, to EduBlocks and CircuitPython, which is in blocks, which is EduBlocks, which is a block and drop, drag and drop block system. We also have microblock support. We've got code.org CS discoveries. You can also just program it in C if you like, and probably even more ways to program it that I can't remember. It's got all these LEDs and sensors and buttons and alligator clips. It's a perfect way to learn how to build stuff, and we got hundreds of projects that go with it.
Okay. For shipping on your way out, if you're in the U.S., use UPS, trust me on this.
It's good.
If you're willing to wait and things disappear and come back through magical portals.
Like wormholes.
Yeah, postal service, if you're not in a hurry. And then international, of course, use DHL. It sails through customs. If you're in New York City, and you check out before 11 a.m., we have same-day delivery to one of the zip codes that you'll see on the screen when you're checking out. Lady Ada, we have a bunch of stuff that came up in the show and tell that people shared.
Yes.
It's cool. Who was on the show and tell?
I'd love to tell you about it. We
What
had
did they share?
people starting to come back. You know, people were on a holiday,
Yeah.
and now they're around and they're building stuff. We had GP who showed off this week's upcoming John Park Workshop project. It's going to be a Bluetooth energy controlled light switch using CircuitPython, and it's kind of a nice design with a servo, so you can remotely control a light switch in his workshop, and also maybe you can do it. It's good for accessibility. It's an interesting accessibility design project. Also, just a fun way to turn on and off a light from far away without having to wire in anything. You just put the servo on top of your light switch. Noah and Pedro showed off last week's project, which was a rose shield made out of foam core, Circuit Playground, and some alligator clip NeoPixels. This is from Steven Universe. We're building all sorts of cool projects in collaboration with MakeCode and Cartoon Networks. This is part of that collab event. Scott had a demo for the Circuit Playground display I/O work that he's done with the terminal, so you can have the REPL appear on the TFT display. He got his Model M keyboard working with PS2 so that you can wire up your keyboard and like type into the REPL, so you can actually use it as a computer, which is like pretty sweet. So
I've said this before, but this is the most fun right now in this moment of time with microcontrollers
And
and
Python
electronics
hardware, yeah.
and Python on hardware. It's so new and it's so exciting.
like, it's all waiting to be done.
For some of the youngins out there, like when we had Macs and like little extensions would come in and like use RAM doubler, like there was modems and you got online for the first time.
HyperCard.
There were so many things that were new and exciting and no one else did. And like right now, like iPads are cool, yay. But like it's not the same thing. It's not discovery. It's more like purchasing and pressing things. And if you want to get involved in electronics and participate in all sorts of ways, from helping out, like we have from advanced coders to folks who've never done any coding in their life. We have lots of things in CircuitPython to do. But this is a lot of fun because every single thing is new.
Yeah.
No one has done stuff with this specifically.
Yeah.
And Scott showed off, we'll probably show off a fun unreleased product that uses some of this stuff too.
Yeah.
So if you've been sitting on the sidelines waiting to get involved with CircuitPython, now's the time.
Indeed.
All the fun's ahead. One day, like a decade from now, it might be boring, but we got like a decade for fun.
Right now it's fun.
Yeah.
Yes. Also, Adafruit Mid-South. We've got Mike Barella with the Lucky Cat guide that he did. It's live now, so you can build a little, if you've been to restaurants or a store with a Japanese Lucky Cat, and you're like, I've always wanted one of those, but you want to make it out of a Circuit Playground Express. It's a very basic cardboard project with a straw. You can build it in an afternoon and have your very own Lucky Cat robot. He also previewed a heart rate guide that he's working on. You can use a Circuit Playground Express to display and measure heart rate, which is cool. Dave Estells updated his humidity jar minder. It's like a thing that measures the humidity inside of a jar if you're keeping something that needs to be kept at a low humidity. And he's got now a new version with an e-ink display and CircuitPython. And because it uses e-ink, the display always has the humidity, and then once a minute it turns on, reads the humidity, updates the e-ink display, and then goes back to sleep. So it's, or maybe it's once an hour. So it doesn't have to run very often, and it doesn't use a lot of power. So check that out. He's probably going to be writing a guide about it too. TG Techie is still working on the tricorder project, and will be rewriting the GUI, so doing a lot of interesting stuff with interpreted language in the GUI and like touchscreen and stuff. So it's coming along, making progress. Michael showed off the Bacon Bits cape for, I guess, the Beaglebone Pocket. It's got LEDs, USB, buttons, and a potentiometer, so you can learn all sorts of low-level interfacing stuff, LEDs and SPI and I2C and USB. It was meant for a course, but he's also going to be selling them and crowdfunding them, so check that out, Bacon Bits. Coding Pro built a cool NeoPixel shirt and used conductive thread. That's really neat, and also made an air quality sensor, and is working on ways to make the air quality sensor work better so that they can publish a guide that other people can follow along to make their own air quality monitor to tell you if the Earth is falling apart or not, which it is. And then Adam came by and showed off like a retrospective of his first project, the scanning tunnel microscope, or tunneling electron microscope, sorry. And how it was built, and then like how you make the needles. I remember this from like many years ago, 2 years ago. And also been posting images in the Discord chat if you'd like to follow along. And maybe you want to start your own journey in building tunneling electron microscopes.
They have their own Discord. There's a whole collection of people who have their own.
I am so sure
Yeah,
they
it's
have.
cool.
It's a whole club. I'm not on it. Not invited. Don't have my own. Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's right here.
What's it called? Tunneling electron microscope.
There's the vacuum hackers.
Vacuum hackers.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that.
All right. So we had like 10 people on the show and tell. I don't know people.
Okay. All participants on the show and tell get an seen on the show and tell sticker. Email support at adafruit.com. For under 18, have your parents' email. As part of our Adafruit live series of shows, JP has a couple cool things coming up. I have some footage that's coming up tomorrow, and then something he showed off last week. So JP, take it away. We read these emails to our all-company meeting that we do every week called State of the Fruit. I also read these to you. I placed my order today. I must have messed up somehow the first time. Thank you for the quick response. I just recently became an Adafruit customer. I think the company is awesome. I'm glad it exists. Let everyone there know that their customer support is on point and that the company as a whole is doing great things. Have a good day, Chad.
Thanks, Chad. Or Chad. Chat.
Yeah, Chad.
Okay.
All right. We're open 24/7 at adafruit.it/discord. We're there now. If you haven't already, you should do that, because by the end of the show, we're going to answer questions and more. And when we're not there, you can answer questions. People
and hang out and show off your projects. You can show and tell all the time.
So tomorrow, JP's show is going to be on, and he will be doing a MakeCode Minute. This is a new graphic from the Cartoon Network.
Ooh.
Adafruit and Cartoon Network together. Yay! A lot of Steven Universe stuff going on. And JP's going to be doing another project that has some Cartoon Network stuff, and he also has his MakeCode Minute. So if you have a Circuit Playground Express, go to makecode.adafruit.com, plug it in. You'll also notice there's a lot of cool Cartoon Network projects, and JP every week on a show does a MakeCode Minute, and here is a MakeCode Minute from last week.
Take it away.
What I want to talk about in MakeCode Arcade is placing and moving sprites. So when we create a sprite, if I take from the sprites set sprite position to and then a number block, you can see that now when the game reloads over here, it's going to place the sprite at a position on screen that's 120 pixels over and 33 pixels down. So the 0, 0, the origin is in this upper left corner here. Now, when I position that, this block actually allows me not only to change the numbers with a slider or by typing them in, but I can also use this crosshairs, which is super convenient. I can just say, you know what, I want my sprite to begin the game right in this position, so I can place it. Now, if we want to move it around, inside of this controller block, I have Move Sprite with buttons. So now if I come over here and I can use my arrow keys to move my Adabot sprite around. Now you'll notice a couple things. It is moving off the screen, which you may or may not want for your game, and there's a very easy way to keep it on screen, which is also in sprites. I have, it's into this area called effects, set my sprite stay on screen on or off, and there's actually a couple of options that you can use here, but I'm going to set this to stay in screen on, and now when the game reloads and I move my cursors, you'll see it stops. And that's why I drew those red marks into there, just to show you that no matter what you draw, your sprite is going to be a certain dimension. This is 16 by 16 pixels in this case. So the corners of that are going to hit these walls, and that's where your sprite is going to stop. And the last thing is a really convenient little block in that same area called Show Physics on or off. And all that does is give us coordinates and velocity. So we can see which direction we're traveling in with that V line, and we can see what coordinate we have reached with the upper left corner, I believe it is, of the sprite. And so lastly, what I want to do is show you in the overhead here, I'm using buttons, I've got a TFT display, and I have a Feather M4 running this, and you can see we got the same thing live on a real game style display. So that is how you set the position of a sprite and move it around really easily inside of MakeCode Arcade.
Okay, so check out JP's show tomorrow on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and more.
Yes.
All right. It's time for some Python on hardware.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of
Blinka.
it. Check out our site and check out GitHub, of course, with CircuitPython. There is a new beta.
More bugs being fixed.
More bugs being fixed. And
making our way towards release candidate 1.
yeah.
Sneaking its way.
Good news for the folks who are on the Discord server right now. Congratulations. We applied collectively to be listed in the Discord listing of open source communities, and they accepted us. So if you go to Discord site, or if you search around and you look for open source and Discord, a lot of communities use Discord, or at least open source ones, and you go to discordapp.com/open-source, and you'll see a whole list of cool companies and communities and open source projects that use Discord to get together. So if you like the Adafruit community server that has CircuitPython where you build it in the open, this is another way to find great open source communities to be part of. All right, kind of big news for us because we didn't know about this.
This is a weird one.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
The TI calculator, the TI-83 premium CE calculator, will ship with a TI Python adapter that is CircuitPython. It runs CircuitPython.
And if you look real closely,
Yeah.
you can see it's an at SAMD21,
That's right.
at SAMD21 E18. So it's basically the same chip as the Trinket or Gemma.
Yep. It's kind of like a little like breakout for the calculator. And this is
Yeah.
a smart way to do it because you can always add other things and you're not stuck with a calculator that's harder to update. It can't do as many things, doesn't have maybe some peripherals that it would work with. So this is really neat, and we didn't know about this. This is exactly why we do CircuitPython as open source, because people can use this for things like this and not have to like talk to us if they don't want to, which is cool. So congratulations, Texas Instruments. This joins the third calculator that runs Python. So there's a Casio,
The Casio 83.
that runs MicroPython. There's Numworks,
Numworks,
that
the
runs
original.
MicroPython. So now this is CircuitPython that runs on Texas Instruments TI-85. Comes out in March.
We'll get one.
This
I
will
mean,
potentially mean CircuitPython in the hands of millions of young folks.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's cool.
We didn't know about it. I'd love to see it, see what they did.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, Brent was working on something pretty cool. I have a little snippet video here. He's working on a CircuitPython powered LoRa sensor network to connect with Adafruit IO using LoRa radio bonnet for Raspberry Pi.
Yep, the Raspberry Pi has the LoRa bonnet, is running our Adafruit Blinka and CircuitPython library for LoRaWAN. And then you've got 2, or as many as you want, feathers, each running CircuitPython. It's the Feather M0 with LoRa radio. And they're reading temperature, humidity, whatever you want, and then sending that data over LoRa or LoRaWAN to the Raspberry Pi, which then uses it as a gateway to the internet. So it's basically how to make a gateway from the internet, either Adafruit IO or the Things network, to any number of small sensor nodes. There's a lot of projects a lot of people want to build. You can now build it. It's all in CircuitPython. It's really easy. And you just plug and play, use a low-cost Raspberry Pi as the gateway, and feathers as your sensor nodes. So use all of our sensors.
Next up, this is our Trellis M4 using CircuitPython. This is called Dock Assist. It's using a Adafruit Neo Trellis M4 and CircuitPython. It's a color-coded guide that does keystrokes for repetitive documentation. So if you're using something and you're always writing in the same block of text over and over and over again,
It's like Alfred, but with
you
buttons.
can use a Neo Trellis M4, program it in CircuitPython, and it'll just put in all the text. So a lot of people have extended keyboards, or they have something like the Elgato Stream Deck, and they do stuff like this. I've done stuff like this. We saw a cool like legal keyboard. There's like legal words that you put in. So this helps with people have to type a bunch of stuff, and it's the same stuff over and over.
Look at that, paragraphs happening.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's like a thesis writer. So this is kind of neat. This is using a Gemma, and it's an arc reactor.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
Good.
the other part of this is we've seen lots of arc reactor projects, but this is the easiest, fastest one by Anthony Fox using CircuitPython.
Good. Somebody named Tony. I've noticed that.
Yeah. Blitz City
Tony Stark,
is
Tony
still working
Fox.
on this robot, so I included it this week.
Looks cute.
It's an update to the IR-controlled CricketBot. Now has a chassis and wheels, and uses the IR LED matrix flower. Code in CircuitPython. This is kind of neat and super weird, and
This is like a LiDAR. It's like a
Yeah.
DIY LiDAR. So if you want to develop your own LiDAR, and it's using an itsy bitsy M4, and it's running CircuitPython. Very interesting. I guess they're using some sensor, and then they're doing like the timing, and then they're doing the calculations
Yeah.
for doing the distance. It's kind of neat. I didn't think of how you would actually make your own LiDAR, but you can do it, and they're doing it.
And this was to make sure there was a fully open source LiDAR.
Top to bottom.
It's on Hackaday IO. Check it out and see what you think. It's called the Unruly. You have to go to Hackaday IO to see that.
Check it
why it's
out.
called Unruly. All right, this is a super cute project. This was the Halloween-based Mac project with CircuitPython and just some sound files and some images. You can make your own startup Mac from the decades.
Yes, you
of-
can go through a
of Macs.
nostalgia walk
Yeah.
from the mid '80s, early '80s to now with all the different startup sounds. And of course, you can change it out to be Windows or whatever you like. You can just have any kind of put in any chassis, and it uses our
Yep.
image reader display code that cycles through images and plays down files along with them.
Okay, I'll say this. I am impressed with SparkFun's movement towards CircuitPython. So this is like
They've seen the light.
the fourth or fifth post about CircuitPython on some of their new boards. This is SparkFun's guide using CircuitPython with the Lumi drive, and then they just posted another one. So I'll do that next week. But if you're interested in CircuitPython and you're like, hey, I want to get this thing from SparkFun, you have even more choices.
There's more CircuitPython hardware. There's 30
right.
boards now that you can choose from.
Okay, this is Energon cubes using a trinket and CircuitPython. When you put them together, they glow.
Yeah, that's good.
This is an i8080 emulator.
Yeah, it's interesting. They
Yeah.
made an emulator, and it's running on itsy bitsy M4, which is, everyone loves this processor because it's got
Yeah.
so much memory, so you can do things in CircuitPython, and you don't really run out of memory. So I guess it's an emulator for an 8080 chip, which is
Yep.
kind of neat.
More progress on the Giant Board.
Yep.
So Grogard posted up the Giant Board beta images are starting to look pretty good. Adafruit's Blinka, CircuitPython for Linux, and 100 plus libraries will be included in the default image. That's why we did this.
Exactly why we did
This
this.
is exactly why we did
You
this.
want humidity sensors, temperature sensor,
Yeah.
why write that code over and over and over again? You don't have to.
If you're doing Linux-y stuff and you want to have all the sensor work, we did Blinka, CircuitPython on Linux.
Python,
So
Python.
Giant Board gets all the stuff out of the box. All right. More tricorder updates because I really like this project.
Yeah, you're into it. This is from
And,
TG Techie?
Yeah.
Great. Well, we just saw
So-
this on the show and tell,
Yep,
and now it's
just on the show and tell.
now we got images showing this upcoming tricorder project.
This one I believe was from Les Founder, and it was a fairground maze that you use. So as you move this around the wire, if you touch it, it makes sound. And this is a CircuitPython project. It's on kidscodex.com. And then next up, this is a really long video. It's worth watching. Bill from AT Makers shows all the ways to connect up a lot of Adafruit hardware with the Xbox adaptive controller. And this is just one example of many in here. And I think this is this is why we do what we do. Bill's able to do a lot of these projects with CircuitPython. So thanks. A milestone that we just hit, 1,000 thank yous. So we asked y'all if you like CircuitPython to hit a star
Hit a star.
on Adafruit's GitHub repo.
And you did.
So github.com.
How many times did they?
Well, github.com
1,007 times.
CircuitPython. 1,007. So if you wanna go there and hit star, you'll hear it in the background.
It'll go ding,
Ding.
ding.
So onward. Thanks. This lets us know we're doing good. So thank you for everyone who did that.
1,000 thank yous.
We started this CircuitPython community on Reddit. We already hit a couple hundred people. Thanks for that, folks. We added our app to the App Store. It's an update, and there is a ton of Blinka. Posted up a video with the tricorder. Now you know why I like the tricorder stuff. Big news, FOSDEM is the open source conference. And
Just happened.
Just happened.
in Europe. It's the biggest. It's like 8,000 people
Yeah.
attend. all about Linux and open source and free software, and it's a party.
And the big news, there was a session called Python for Microcontrollers. Christine Spindler did it, and there was a video, there's slides, and right away I posted because I want to get the scoop. This is the PyBoard DE series, and here's some photos.
Look at that.
From the event. They were selling some there, so these exist.
They exist.
There's some accessories. They're not on the micropython.org site yet, and these are some of the extra boards. They make perfect earrings.
They do look like very nice earrings,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like a super fast, I think it's an STM F7 series, so it's probably running like 400 megahertz or something like that.
Yeah.
Probably that has like a megabyte of RAM, a couple megabytes of flash. It has these little plug-in connectors, sort of like, it reminds me a little bit of the Hirose connectors from the Edison. You can plug in boards.
Other Python and hardware news. This is the MicroPython port for OpenISA's Vega board. Check it out. It's on GitHub. This is one of my favorite projects. This is a MicroPython-based Rubik's Cube solver, and this is one. This is not a regular Rubik's Cube.
It's a 5x5.
It's a complicated one.
Ooh.
Hackaday IO. This is a cast volume knob. It's a hardware volume control for Chromecast audio devices. It's based on the ESP8266 using MicroPython. Really like this project too. This is like Yoga Commander. So
Yeah, Yoga Commander, watch out.
this is on a
control your
Raspberry Pi. It's Linux and it's controlling some Adafruit hardware using Linux and Python, and it like opens up the blinds and then closes or dims the lights, and it's
Get you relaxed.
yeah. It's like okay, it's
Just
relaxing.
relax the heck out of it.
Yoga Commander.
Yoga Commander.
There's some
I think there's like
events
an enemy in
coming
like
up.
G.I. Joe.
Yeah. February 23rd in Rhode Island. This is Intro to Python, Adafruit CircuitPython, and CircuitPython Express by Ocean State Maker Fairmill. Thank you, who just did that, by the way. Another event that's coming up, PyCade, February 23rd, 24th in Seattle, Washington. It's a 2-day Python conference. Nina will be there doing a Light Up Your Life Python and LEDs. I believe Scott will be there
Yay.
as well. And then PyCon, that's coming up May 1st through the 9th, 2019.
Wow, 9 days? It's epic.
There's a lot of
Full
stuff,
week.
yeah. We also had our libraries listing all the Linux and CircuitPython stuff with Blinka.
Yes.
We updated the awesome guide. We just
Yes.
added Dave's CircuitPython cheat sheet,
That's
which is
now
really
there,
cool.
which is handy.
If this sounds like a lot of stuff and you want more, guess what?
Wait, is it a blinker with a VR goggle?
That's right.
Okay.
It is.
Why?
You
Why
can
do you do
go.
that?
We have an in case you missed it post. We have the video recap. We have our weekly podcast stuff that I'll talk about. So we got a lot, but the easiest thing to do is go to adafruitdaily.com. Sign up for Python for microcontrollers. It's a separate site specifically because we never spam. We want
You
to
can't
prove
do
it.
it by accident.
And so that's it. That's Python and hardware news.
Epic week.
Yeah, there's even more, but we run out of time each week to have all of the news. So that's why we do newsletter every week. Okay, time travel. Look back at the world of hackers, makers, artists, and engineers. All this month, every single day for African American History Month, we have an innovator, a
Inventor,
maker,
a scientist,
artist,
makers.
a musician, you name it. This is something that we're really proud of. We've been doing this almost since the start of Adafruit. If you're an electronic site, if you're a community site, or whatever it is, there's always someone to celebrate. So this month, we're doing what we always do, is having a different maker up there every single day. So check it out. It's on our site. And in addition to that, because this is another holiday,
Happy
Chinese New Year.
Year.
Yeah, it's Year of the Pig.
Also, if in Vietnam you celebrate, and many other countries celebrate as
Yep.
well. A
So
Lunar
we
New
have
Year.
So happy Lunar New Year, everyone.
Pig is a good auspicious. That's a auspicious animal.
Hey, piggy.
Fat, happy, tasty.
Okay. Big
Yeah,
news
what's
for us.
this?
So every single week we have the CircuitPython Weekly in Discord. It's at 2 p.m. on Mondays, and we have a full video recording. And the audio is really what you want to listen to because it's Discord and you're using audio. And so now it's a podcast on Spotify, and you can go to adafruit.it/Spotify. And if you want to listen to the last year of CircuitPython development, we have a full year there already, but the podcast is there now. And for the folks who are like, but what about iTunes? Well, we submitted it. It's submitted for review, and we'll know soon. So we have all those things available if you want to catch up to keep up with all the developments on Python on hardware. Job stuff. This week, job that we're featuring is Senior Software Engineer at Space 150. If you're in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and you want a cool job, check it out. It's on jobs@adafruit.com. If you're a company that wants to find cool people, post up on our jobs board. If you're a person who has skills, post your skills up, and that's where companies find a lot of folks. All right, open source hardware. We're an open source hardware company.
Indeed.
You do open source.
I do.
And I'm gonna change things up this week.
Wait, what?
I'm gonna ask the community to do something. You didn't even know I was gonna do this.
What? What are they doing? Are they going to write guides?
No, well, some will. So everyone, I'm gonna put the links everywhere I can. But Our Lady Ada was nominated for a Woman in Open Source Award by Red Hat. So they do voting, which I'm a little on the fence on, like voting for people, like. But she's nominated. If you like Lady Ada, you're here in our community. Please go vote for her. That's how they do it.
I do open source. I've got the GitHub.
You have the most repos
PRs
for sure.
to prove it.
Here it is. I put it in the chat. You can vote for one more here. I'll put it in the YouTube chat. I'm going to put it in the Twitch chat, and I'm going to put it in the Facebook chat right now, because it's hard to read all these long URLs, and it's like redhat.com/en about/women-in-open-source. So please vote for Lamore.
.local.
Yeah, it's Red Hat. It's open source. I think this is a good way to, let folks know that open source hardware is important.
And it's open source.
The code that you do is important.
Yeah, I remember not even like 10, 12 years ago, open source hardware was not considered open source. Like people were like, you can't have open source hardware.
Yeah.
That's not open source.
But just straight up code,
But even just on the code, yes.
You've written thousands
of lines of code. Thousands, hundreds of thousands.
Well, now thousands of like libraries and such too.
Yeah.
If you use Arduino, you use Lady Ada's code. That's pretty much it. And you've always done it all open source.
Oh, man.
We have over 1,000
My head
repos.
even hurts just thinking about how much code I've written.
So please go vote there. Like I said, I remember when you were nominated for Entrepreneur of the Year.
Yeah.
And it was you versus like 23
dudes.
guys. And I thought that was going to be
I cut their heads off though.
Yeah. I thought that was going to be tough, but the world who didn't really know you, this was a while ago, read your story and did this.
Don't mess with me, Justin's not better.
Yeah. But this is, so if you're just nominated because this is celebrating women, that's great.
That's good.
But if you want to vote for Lamore, please do, and the links are there. So, thanks, folks. Anyways, back to our regularly scheduled program.
All right.
Anyways, yeah, please vote.
Okay.
We have some guides.
Guides.
What do we got this week?
Okay. So let's start from the top left. We've got the Rose Shield. This is a Cartoon Network MakeCode collaboration project. I know Pedro made this cool shield. We'll show the video. It's completely out of foam core. No 3D printing is required. No soldering is required. You get a foam core, NeoPixels and alligator clips and a circuit playground. Code it in MakeCode, and you can make this beautiful shield with like a swirling color effect. So we'll show that video. We also have Kathy Cesari wrote a topical guide. We have a cool infinity mirror box for your heart chocolates, or heart-shaped box chocolates that you're going to maybe give away in February 14th for Valentine's Day. You're probably like, why just give away chocolate when you can give away electronics? So she shows two versions of the code. One version uses LED stickers from Chibitronics, so it's very easy. No soldering or coding or anything. You just put the copper tape down and the stickers and you're good to go. And then there's a little bit more advanced one which uses MakeCode, a Circuit Playground Express. Still no soldering, but you have to alligator clip stuff and write a little bit of code. So there's two projects, one a little more crafty, one a little bit more codey. You can decorate your Valentine's Day. We also have a guide from Mike Barella to make your very own super happy lucky cat. You may have seen these cats in sushi restaurants, like Japanese bookstores, whatever. They're happy lucky cats that are supposed to give good business and good fortune, and sometimes are robotic. But I thought maybe let's make our own. So, using some paper craft, you can make your very own super happy lucky cat. There's a name for it, but I can't remember. It's a good fortune cat using Circuit Playground Express and a servo. So it's a good beginner project in robotics. As we mentioned before in the Python video section, Brent did a massive guide on making your own LoRa or LoRaWAN gateway network with a Raspberry Pi that will take data from multiple sensor nodes, like say feathers, with LoRa radios on them, and then send that data either to the Things network using LoRaWAN or to Adafruit IO using plain LoRa. So you have two choices of how you want to put your data up on the internet. And using a Raspberry Pi as a low-cost gateway is an excellent way of doing it. And you can use our hat, which will also have an OLED and some buttons to give you some feedback so you can know what data is coming in for your node. So I think this will be the basis for a lot of people's projects if they're doing home automation, or you're doing like a large-scale project, because these LoRa modules can work up to 2 kilometers away or even more quite easily. So they're good for campus-wide, school-wide, home-wide projects. You don't have to worry about, can you get the data from one side of the house to the other. With LoRa, you can. It can go quite far. We've got an epic guide by Brian Sedacious. This is how to make custom Eagle boards and send them to OshPark. So if you've got a couple of different boards from Adafruit, maybe you want to combine them together, maybe add some other components, maybe a trinket, a sensor, a potentiometer, a couple of resistors. He shows you how to take pieces and you turn them into like these design blocks, and then you can make a custom PCB. So even if you're a beginner, it's kind of a good a basis, and it has a lot of animated GIFs to take you through it. So this could be a good Eagle tutorial for cobbling together existing breakouts, so you don't have to do a lot of tough soldering, but you still get a nice finished PCB.
We do like hug reports, and we also, say good work. But this one in particular, Sedacious, nicely done, because this is a really hard topic. I sent it over to Lane from OshPark. He's like, oh my gosh, this is so good. There was people that said, I just tried to do all this stuff. I couldn't do it. I wish this guide was around. And then Eagle saw it, Autodesk.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my gosh, they're tweeting about it. So this is already, for the people who know.
This is it. This is going to be a key guide.
Excellent work. And if you've ever thought about jumping into doing any type of PCB design, just check it out. Because I think this is one of the one that demystifies.
Yeah.
If I had to summarize, like demystifying making PCBs.
Yeah.
Because it's not just teaching. It's like this isn't scary stuff, but it is unless you know, and that's what demystification.
Absolutely.
is. So good work.
Good work. We've also got an excellent guide from Isaac Wellish on using EduBlocks. That beta came out for CircuitPython, so you can use block-based programming to program your Circuit Playground Express, which would be very interesting for people who want to get somebody started, or they want to start with programming, but they don't want to do a lot of typing, or maybe they like the drag and drop simplicity. So EduBlocks can work with CircuitPython and Circuit Playground, and we go through a couple different examples from the very basic blinking and LED all the way to using NeoPixels and capacitive touch buttons and playing sounds. So check out that guide. It's very in-depth, and I think EduBlocks is another piece of that coding puzzle, another way to make it easier for people to code. From JP, last week's project, which I think we showed a clip of earlier, is the Garnet, sorry, what's it called? The
from Steven
gauntlets. Garnet gauntlets.
Yeah.
So when you punch, the star lights up because it can detect the motion. So it's kind of a very cool upgrade to a very basic a felt and foam core cosplay prop. You can make it interactive, add lights. It's really easy. So if you're interested in making cosplay, we want to show people how easy it is to add just a little bit of interactivity to make something light up or make sound. And you can do that using MakeCode. And again, it's a collaboration with Cartoon Network and MakeCode. So we're doing a bunch of Steven Universe and other Cartoon Network projects. And then we have an epic guide from Erin. This is a very cool project. She has events that she goes to where she has a bunch of dancers, and each one of them has a NeoPixel crown or NeoPixel costume. And then using this LoRa controlled box with NeoPixel buttons, she can remotely control all the costumes at once. So even if the dancers are all across a stage or all across like a field or an event space, by pressing one button, everybody synchronizes together. So a really cool way of using LEDs to affect your dance or performance. So using Arduino and CircuitPython and radios to affect your dance and performance, to synchronize them. Something that's very, very hard for most people, but we've made it really easy, and you can just plug in the code and synchronize your NeoPixels.
Okay, and we are now up to 1,735 guides on learn.adafruit.com. And of course, shout out to the team, in particular, Justin and also Sheehan, who work on a lot of the things with Learn.
Making it better and better.
And all the entire team. That this is one of the best resources online for learning.
It's so solid. It makes it so easy. You can make so many guides.
Okay. I'm in New York City, some factory footage from Adafruit here. Take it away, factory. Oh. Thanks for the thing.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And we got a couple more. This is the tester.
For 2.13 inch e-ink breakout, you can see it's the prototype. So I'm testing the tester here, or someone's testing the tester. And when it shows the fancy Blinka, you know it's working. Hey Blinka.
It was a little snowy out.
Yeah.
So this is outside our window.
It was a polar vortex.
This is when, yeah, then it was like 60 degrees the next day.
I know.
Okay, 3D printing. Videos from Noah and Pedro. The first one is, we talked about earlier, some cool stuff from Steven Universe. Here we go. Take it away.
World Shield.
Hey, what's up folks? In this project, we're making Rose's shield from Steven Universe. This shield lights up and makes sound effects when it takes a hit. It's about 20 inches in diameter and completely made from foam poster boards. In this video, we'll show you how you can build your own. Get the parts to build this project, links are in the description. We used Microsoft's MakeCode to animate the LEDs and sound effects. CodeBlocks makes it fun and easy to learn how to program hardware like the Adafruit Circuit Playground Express. Start by cutting the pieces out of foam poster boards using our free template. These pieces are layered to form this shield and secured together with hot glue. Trace outlines and cut out pieces to create a holder for housing the circuit board. These are stacked together and will hold the components in place. The electronics are press-fitted into the holder and the LED strip wraps around the inside. Alligator clips makes it easy to connect to the Circuit Playground Express. Square pieces surround the battery pack to create a housing on the back of the shield. The LED strip is wedged in between these pieces and held in place with more hot glue. Mix acrylic paints to make a pink color and brush it onto the front of the shield. You can add a light blue color to the outer edge. We used a vinyl cutter to make the spiral thorn out of cardstock. You could also print out the template and cut it yourself. Glue these little spikes to the thorn and place the emblem in the center. These covers will go on the back of the shield and will diffuse the lights. The handle is press fitted into the square foam brackets. Be sure to check out the Learn Guide for this project. We hope you have a lot of fun building and crafting your shield. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more projects from Adafruit.
And you're probably like, hey, I want to see like a sped up 3D printed moon.
I would like to see that a lot, yeah.
That's what I'd like to see.
Okay.
All right. Okay, and don't forget every single Wednesday 3D Hangouts with and Pedro. A little bit of a reminder, adabox.com, you should go there. We have a few slots open. We're going to be shipping in March-ish, so if you're thinking about getting an Adabox, I promise you it'll be something
we
really
will sell
good.
out. Guaranteed.
We will, so it's always a good idea. Okay, and then Adafruit IO is where we have our free service for makers, but there's a pro edition for people who want to do more. Also helps us pay server bills, and we have the year pass now. Comes with a cool hologram looking card. So with that, Lady Ada, let's do this thing. Let's do this. Okay, first up.
First up, we've got this breadboard friendly vibration switch. I love these. A lot of people are like, I need an accelerometer. Oftentimes you don't. If you just want to detect a motion or a bump, vibration switches work really well. And this one's clear and it's breadboard friendly, which is why I like it. Let me show it on the overhead, because this is kind of, I cut one open so I could show what it looks like. So on the inside, you can see there's this spring. And this spring kind of can flop around inside the body. And the spring is connected to this pin. And this other pin is connected to a little tab here. Let me see if I can really zoom in to show it. So there's a little tab here. And when this spring flops around, it'll touch that other pin and then make a contact, which is why it's a switch. So it's breadboard friendly, which is why I really like this one. Other ones, they kind of come with 2 pins, but they're not easy to plug into a breadboard. But this one is. And then one thing to note is, so the spring, you know, this is kind of exaggerated, but it flops this way. So if you thwack it from the top, it won't do anything. You have to thwack it from the side. So, you know, you can, if you want to detect up and down motion, you can, you know, bend it over when you solder it. It kind of bends because it's the pins come in a corner. If you'd like, but yeah, it only measures taps in one direction, but it's really low cost. So if you just want a motion switch and you want to plug into a breadboard or a perf board, this will work quite well, and I like that it sits nice and flat.
Next up,
we've got a new computer kit from Kano. This one this version has touch. They've discontinued the non-touch version, so now we have the touch version. So you get a computer, you get a keyboard, you get this little trackpad, you get, it's got Wi-Fi built in, it's got this nice, beautiful color display, and it's all in one, and the keyboard even snaps into the back, so you can take it on the go. It has a battery pack inside, so it's actually kind of like a laptop computer. You can plug it in, but you can also run off battery for a couple hours. It comes with the Kano software, which is what the experience that you're really looking for is the Kano software experience. It comes with this operating system. It's based on Linux, but you can do all sorts of painting, touch games,
They did such a good
coding.
job, you can't really tell it was based on Linux.
Yeah, it's its own operating system, and it has a sharing service online. People can share their projects. You can run Scratch with it. You can run all sorts of stuff. But if you want to get a kid a computer they can build themselves, hack on, comes with educational stuff, and it's built on a Raspberry Pi. The Kano kit's great, and even better, it comes with a touch screen now.
Okay.
In addition to the lovely diffused LEDs we had last week, we now have a bicolor diffused LED, which I'd love to show you. And here it is. It comes with
It can
a
be
red
or green.
Green, and
That's
it's a bicolor LED, so it's actually 2 LEDs inside, and you can control each one individually. And then I just have a demo here showing it pulsing between red
So
and
it looks like
green.
when it's off.
And then, of course, you can have it be, if you'd like, you can set both on, and it's kind of a yellowish color. So if I dim this by putting a piece of paper over it, you can see it's quite bright. And what's nice is the color is completely diffused inside this 18 millimeter circle. But yeah, it's just like an LED. You put 2 resistors on it to pretend it's an LED. But it's good for I think cosplayer panels, or where you want a big bold color, but it's nice and flat topped. So a nice indicator LED, very visible. 2 colors.
Okay. Next up.
This is an ESP8285 module. So people are familiar with the 8286 and the ESP32. So this is kind of like the little sister. It's an ESP8266, but it doesn't have an external flash chip. The flash is actually built into the chip, so it's a little bit less expensive. You can see here, it's just that ESP chip, a crystal. Can you go back to the previous? No, the.
You want to go this one?
Yeah. You can see the ESP8266 chip with a built-in flash. Crystal, a couple of LED, a couple of resistors and capacitors, and that's it. So the module is very small and less expensive because there isn't this extra flash chip. It's like the size of a fingertip, and you can basically embed it into any project. It's castellated pad, so you can solder it by hand if you like. You get a fine tip, but it's not too bad. It's called the ESP M2. Use it as if it was an 8266 and 1 megabyte of flash, and you can add Wi-Fi to your project without needing a lot of space. It's got the FCC certification and a tin can, so very easy to use, and you get all the pins brought out.
Okay.
We've got these alligator clips. We've got these in a whole bunch of different sets, and for some kits, we wanted to only include 6, so we now have a pack of 6. They're 18 inches long. I think they have a 22 gauge wire, and you get 1 of each color: red, black, white, green, and blue, and yellow. So you get 6 different colors. If you need 12, we have a 12 pack. If you need 18, we have an 18 pack. But for a lot of times, you don't need more than 6, so you get 1 of each color, and this is less expensive. Coming soon, we have a USB-C breakout. We're experimenting with USB-C. This is the next generation of USB connectors. You can flip it around. So this is the downstream port version. You can plug this into a breadboard, so you can wire it up to your microcontrollers that you have native USB, or you can use it to get power out of a USB port. We have it hooked up for the standard 5-volt, 1.5 amp setup, and maybe we'll make some other versions with different setups. But USB-C is kind of interesting. It uses resistors to determine the power and connectivity, sort of like Apple did with their iOS detection. So to get started, we'll just do a basic breakout. We're going to see how this goes, and we'll maybe add USB-C to some of our products. So coming soon.
And tonight to start the show, besides the community and you, Lady Ada,
is this. Why is it red? This is a board that was sponsored by DigiKey. Thanks, DigiKey, for suggesting this sensor. They were like,
DigiKey and Analog Devices. We're working with them to get some cool new sensors out to everybody.
And Analog Devices does make really nice sensors. In fact, our first breakout was the ADXL 335. I think that was the first breakout we made.
So it's in DigiKey Red.
Accelerometer.
And then, of course, it comes from Analog Devices.
Yes, this is the ADT 7410, which you may remember if you're an AdaBox subscriber. It's on the Trellis M4. It's no, this temperature sensor wasn't. It was the ADXL 343, which is another breakout. I'm getting my AD sensors confused. Sorry. The ADT 7410, which is a high precision temperature sensor. So this sensor has a 16-bit analog conversion, so it's very high precision, and it's also very high accuracy. So it's pre-calibrated. Check the datasheet for the calibration deets, but it's I think 0.4 degrees centigrade or better calibrated. So you're going to get good readings out of this. It's I2C. It's really easy to use. We have Arduino and CircuitPython libraries for it. It's works with 3 volts or 5 volt power and logic. It's also got interrupt output. You can select up to 4 different I2C addresses. It's got interrupt and critical temperature output for signaling things. It's really easy to use. It's got good data out. I put it into high precision mode and read the temperature out. It's nice and stable. Tells you exactly what temperature is surrounding it. So this is, I think, there's a lot of temperature sensors out there, but a lot of them aren't as high precision as this one. And sometimes you just want like high precision, high accuracy. So this sensor is what I would recommend. And it's not too expensive too. It's like, $5-6 for the breakout. And you can add a really good temperature sensor to your next project. Good for IoT.
This will also help me when April Fool's rolls around and I try to convince everyone we acquired SparkFun and we renamed the company Sparkfruit Adafruit.
Yeah.
And that's new products.
Check that out.
Okie dokie. The data.
Yes.
Recap.
So the new recap. We've got this breadboard friendly vibration switch. If you thwack it from the side, the spring and the pad connect, and you've got a switch that detects something got thwacked or moved. From Kano, we've got the Kano Computer Touch Kit. It's an all-in-one computer based on Raspberry Pi. You get everything you need to get started. It's got Wi-Fi, it's got Bluetooth, it's got keyboard and touchpad, touchscreen, battery pack so you can take it on the go, and of course Kano OS, all the educational resources you need to get started. It's a wonderful experience. We've got this bicolor red-green 8mm round diffused LED. It just looks really cool. It's got this beautiful diffused look. You get both red and green. You can treat them as if 2 individual LEDs or mix them for a yellow color. The ESP8285 is a module from Espressif that has basically ESP8266 with built-in 1 megabyte of flash, and it's very small, compact, and low cost. It's easy to add a Wi-Fi coprocessor or even a main processor to your next project. It's got a nice tin can, it's got FCC ID, so it's ready for integration.
Okay.
You've got our favorite alligator clip sets, these teeny alligator clips in 6 colors: red, white, yellow, green, black, blue. You get one of each, 18 inches long. We got them in 12-pack, 18-pack, but sometimes you only need 6. You can only get 6 here. Coming soon, the USB-C downstream breakout will let you add USB-C to your next project. Great for experimenting with this newfangled standard. There's nothing better about standards than there's always a new one to support. So coming soon, sign up and let you know as soon as we get them in stock. The Analog Devices ADT7410 I2C temperature sensor is a precision temperature sensor with 16-bit analog inputs. It will work over I2C with your 3 volt or 5 volt logic microcontrollers and microcomputers. We've got both Python and Arduino libraries for it, so it's really easy to get started with a Raspberry Pi, or Arduino, your Feather, your Metro, what have you. You can put up to 4 of them on one I2C bus, and it's got some interrupt and critical temperature output too. This one is a recommended and sponsored project from both DigiKey and Analog Devices, so that's why it's DigiKey Red, in case you were wondering. And that's new products.
Okay. Don't forget the code is analog all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight. Let's do some top secret.
I think that's some 2 fast
and
ones.
then we're going to answer some questions. I can answer one question while you're about to show this. Will we carry USB-C cables? Absolutely, yeah.
We already do. We
Absolutely.
have USB to micro B, but we'll carry some USB to USB.
And we're working on some other cool USB-C stuff too, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Show what you want to show.
Okay, so we've got here, some PCBs that came in. Metro NR52840. It's got the NR52840 module, and then it's like Metro, and then it's got the USB-C. So this is the first USB-C board. Battery power. So there's kind of like a lot of stuff going on here. Yeah. A little module, and then I also had the itsy bitsy version of the NR52840 coming out, double-sided, because it was just so much stuff I couldn't fit it all on one side. But it's got the module, QSPI flash on the back, 2 buttons, dot star, power supply on the bottom, 2 micro USB, and crystal. Yeah, so we'll see how this goes. Put this together, might work out.
All right, back in the vault.
Back in the vault.
All right, we're going to answer questions. If you posted a question before, do it again, because it may have scrolled past where I could see. You want to go over to Discord and go to adafruit.it/Discord, and then you can answer your questions. So I think TD Techie had asked one earlier, and I want to try to find it real quick. Okay, so when writing hardware drivers, are they written for the kernel for the kernel? Yeah, for the kernel. Just asking.
No, we try not to. I mean, it's best not to make kernel.
So do peripherals like mice normally talk to the kernel before the OS?
Yes, normally the kernel manages all that stuff. When we write device drivers for like sensors, we usually go through a layer like Python.
Okay. Will the ADT7410 connect to the Circuit Playground Express?
Absolutely, you can do so. Just connect it up to the 3-volt and ground SCL and SDA pads, and you can use CircuitPython or you can use Arduino.
Okay, any upcoming all-in-one product that can charge LiPo batteries with smart load sharing and output 3.3 volts, best if choosable for both 3.35 volts?
Not that I got one. No, I don't have one coming.
Okay. Could someone borrow you for a week in a classroom? No, but here's what you could do. If you have a classroom, we do a show and tell, and then sometimes what we do is try to coordinate with a lot of schools, and we'll do a live broadcast. Because putting Lemoore in a plane usually doesn't work out.
Yeah, but then I wouldn't be able to do show and tell or ask engineer. I'd be sad.
But you get motion sickness and stuff like that.
I get sick on the plane.
And also, the more we can keep Lady Ada making hardware and writing code, the better it is for all of us. So we use technology, like this broadcast.
Like this broadcast.
Next up, are there any locator pins or markings on the round bicolor LED that indicate which pins are red and green? There's no dimensional drawings on the product page.
No, there isn't.
Okay.
Sorry.
Please
I mean, there's a little blue mark. Maybe that tells you one way or the other. There's no real marking.
Okay.
Sorry.
Here's a request. Could you carry a 6.2 LCD that works on 3.3 volts?
A 6.2 LCD?
I guess inch. That would be
a 16. I think 16 by 2.
Yeah. Or 16 by 2. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, they all work with 3.3 volts. You just have to power them with 5 volts, but you can do 3.3 volt logic on them. They work fine.
Okay. Do you have a favorite oscilloscope or logic analyzer?
For the logic analyzer, I like a Sele. I got a tech scope. You know, a lot of scopes, it doesn't really matter which one you use, but the tech scopes I find trigger best.
Yeah.
But they're quite good these days.
Do you ever plan on making a button with a NeoPixel in it? Maybe.
We don't have one. We did a project. We have a guide that Non Pedro did, I think, on making a NeoPixel arcade button. Yeah. So check that out. You can just make a little holder and you put it in.
Would you ever be able to put BLE on the Circuit Playground Express? Yes.
Yeah, but it would be a different thing. We do actually have a guide on how to do it with the module. If you want to do a module.
Could you recharge the Spooky Eye with the solar power project from Becky's solar tutorial?
You could. Yeah, you could plug in the battery into your solar charger and then plug that load in, and then just don't plug in the USB. Not really recommended, but you could maybe do it.
Could you do a APA 102 2020 single roll or of 8 or 16 pixels?
Yeah, I guess I could.
Okay.
I don't have any plans to, but
okay. What did you?
It's a good suggestion.
What did you code the e-paper tester in?
The e-paper tester was written in Arduino because it's a Metro.
Okay.
That's programming it.
All right. I think we got to all the questions. There's a lot of questions.
There's a lot of questions.
Oh, could we make a camera for the Featherwing? Yeah, maybe.
We could.
Yeah. Will we see USB-C on microcontrollers anytime soon? Absolutely. We showed the it's not out yet thing. So
yeah, it's not yet.
You can expect
it'll make its way slowly, but
absolutely.
it'll make it.
Yep. Let's see. I think I got.
You still like Micro B though. Micro B was a good one.
Yeah.
Compact, low cost.
Okay.
Reliable.
Let's do a trivia question.
Yes, let's give something away. You're probably wondering what I'm going to give away.
What are the rules? Someone says give your high five for the thank you for the community. Okay.
Thanks.
What do you want to give away this week?
Star the repo.
Yeah?
We're gonna, these days instead of a high five, you should also star it.
That's like a high five. Look at it. It says 1009.
Don't you want to be 1010? It would be like binary. It would be 1010. That'd be so good. Okay, rules are you can't win something if you already won something before. One winner per my lifetime. All you have to do is call this phone number, and you're going to answer when I pick up the phone and say ahoy ahoy. you'll turn off your audio, and then you'll say who you are, where you're calling from, project you're working on or you want to work on. If you answer those 3 questions correctly, I will send you out an ADT 7410 precision I2C temperature sensor in DigiKey Red. Who would not love this temperature sensor? Great for any kind of temperature monitoring or sensoring.
Okay.
Call this number.
What's the number?
I'm going to say ahoy ahoy.
This is the phone.
This is what you're going to win.
This is the number. This is the phone.
This is the phone. And this is the number.
This is the number.
Number, phone. Phone, number. There's something there. This means something.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting. Call up. Oh. It's going to ring once. It's going to ring twice. Okay, I'm going to pick it up. Ahoy, ahoy.
Hello.
Hello. Congratulations. You've won the trivia contest. Everybody.
Okay,
Yay. Wow.
Very good. I just thought I would give it a shot.
And you, look at you. It's, you know what? That's why it's important to try, because sometimes you win. So what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Herb. I'm calling from Ithaca, New York.
Ooh.
And the project I'm working on is an RF power meter for ham radio.
Wow. You know what? Somebody actually called up a couple weeks ago, and it's not from Ithaca, from somewhere else. And they were also building a power meter, and they were using like neopixels and LEDs. So they would point the antenna, and the LEDs would light up. It was kind of neat. So
okay, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so they just pointed it, and so instead of having to look at like a dial in the dark, they would just point it, and as the lights got brighter and brighter, they're like, good, I've got my good connection. So if you don't mind, if you don't mind sharing your ham radio call sign, maybe people can contact you.
KA2ZOH.
Okay, cool. Okay, and then what bands are you on so people know where to find you?
I am off and on 40 meters. That is
Oh.
a really great long distance span.
Ooh, that is far. Okay, people from Europe could get on there, from Canada.
Oh yeah,
from
quite easily from here, yes.
All right. Yeah, the last week's person was from 15 meter. You're on 40. So that's amazing. Well, congratulations, Herb. We'd love to send you this temperature sensor. It could be useful for telling how cold it is in Ithaca, which it
Yeah, I was watching that about the temperature sensor. I do use those in projects.
Okay. You're
Very
set.
interesting.
Cool. Well, we'd love to send you. All you have to do is email support@adafruit.com, support@adafruit.com, and say, hey, it's Herb from upstate New York, and I'd love you to send me a product number 4089. If you say that,
4089.
that's the magic numbers. They'll know exactly what to send you, and then you can add temperature sensing to your ham shack.
Okay, well, great. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Congratulations, and thank you for calling up. Come by in the show and tell. Show off your ham radio stuff. We'd love to see some.
I would have to figure out how to do that, but that would be
Sweet.
very interesting.
All right. Thanks for calling. Good night, Herb.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you.
Success.
Okay. All right. Well, that's our show for the evening.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody.
Hold on. I'm just going to put this back.
Don't forget the code is analog.
Yes. There you go.
10% all the way up to 1:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much, everybody. Special thanks to all of our Adafruit team members behind the scenes. I think Takara is in Slack tonight.
Thanks, Takara. Thanks, Takara.
And special thanks to all of the helpers that help us out in Discord, all our Adafruit remote team members, all the Adafruit employees here, the entire community of people that makes this what it is. We do open source. We give it all away. And, like, I don't think prizes and awards for some things are good, but in this particular case, when you give everything away, I can tell you, we certainly don't do this for the money. There's way better ways to make money than, but I don't think they're as good than doing electronics.
This is more lucrative, but not as good.
So, but you could get an award if you do it in recognition from Red Hat, which is an open source company. So if you want to vote for Lemore, I'll put the link in one more time. I'd like to see Lemore get an award. That'd be really cool. She's nominated for a woman in open source. So that is one way.
Red Hat should do something good.
Yeah. So thank you, everybody. We'll see everybody next week. We will have some more cool stuff and more.
Oh, we got to
surprises.
1010.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, somebody just dinged. Thank you, whoever.
It's a nice number.
Nice. It's a round number. Very nice looking.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. We'll see you next week. Here is your moment of Zener.
Thanks, everybody. Good night.